Hey there, it's Emily. Now, before I start, I do want to say, I know my hair looks different. I wear my hair like this all the time at home, but not really out anywhere, but I just thought it kind of was like falling in a cute way, so I'm like, let's keep it. I'm adorable. One more thing I do want to mention is that in this video, I'm going to be talking about some serious topics, some things that might be triggering for some people, so I do want to give a content warning for talks of death, depression, and suicidal thoughts, and just so you know that these are all things that happened in the past to me and that I am okay now. You don't have to worry about me, but I do want to talk about this because I think it's important. So before I go any further, I will mention that this is my father right here, and that's me as a little baby girl. And so you can keep that in mind when you're watching the rest of this video. This is obviously not like my normal videos. It's not a part of my series, but I might include it in the series playlist just because I think it's important to the series. This video was going to be about season 9, but to be honest, I kind of took a little break. I was on vacation last week from work, and while that probably is like the perfect time to do more work on my videos, I kind of felt just unmotivated, and I was like, I just need to relax a little bit. So I just took some time off. But next week, my series will be returning, season 9, next Sunday. So as I was making my last video about season 8 of Supernatural, I got kind of introspective. I really started to think about why Supernatural meant so much to me, and I wanted to talk about that here because something I've always loved about YouTube is how personal it can be. There's often this vulnerability between the person making the videos and the audience, and an openness that I think really drives people to the platform because we want some sort of connection, especially in times like these when emotional, social connections are hard to come by. I think a lot of old school YouTubers started their channels because they were always kind of on the quiet side and they didn't really have many friends, so they turned to the internet, and I can definitely relate to that. I mean, I have friends, of course, but I am more introverted, and I don't tend to go out and make new friends because that kind of interaction terrifies me, to be honest, but but even just these few videos that I've made, having these conversations with fellow Supernatural fans in the comments, it's just been really fun and rewarding, but I do just keep thinking that something is missing in all of this. You know why I started watching Supernatural. Season 7 and Cass coming back and the potential for Dean and Cass's relationship to blossom into something more. But what kept me watching? Why do I still care about the show so much to this day? And I'm not gonna lie, I really had to think about that for a bit because it's almost like therapy. Like, some of those things you don't think about until you start digging for them, trying to analyze why you do the things that you do. And I realized that season 8, which is the first season that I watched live, was airing at a really tough time in my life. My dad passed away in February of 2013. Already? Around when 8:15 aired, which, great, thanks, the worst episode of the entire show. I love it, thanks. But I actually remember distancing myself from the show after that happened because I felt like nothing could bring me joy anymore, and I was severely depressed. And then 8:17 aired about a month after my dad passed away, and it was like the only happiness I felt around that time. And it came from watching this show, from rooting for this relationship. And over that next, year, I got more and more depressed, but the only thing that kept me going was Supernatural. There were moments where I felt like dying. Like everyone would be better off without me, like I didn't matter. And what would always pull me back was thinking, if I die now, I'll never know if Dean and Cass end up together. And that might sound stupid, but I don't really care because I'm still alive because of those thoughts. I'm not saying Supernatural saved me, even though that might be the title of this video, and I'm sorry for the clickbait, but honestly, it's not clickbait, but it's just the distinction of knowing that it wasn't just Supernatural that saved me, it was me that saved me, and that's really the more healthy idea. I'm sure that if I didn't have Supernatural and Destiny, I probably would have found something else that brought me back from that edge, but it wasn't. It was this show, it was this relationship. So, yeah, I am always going to care about Supernatural and Dean and Cass's relationship. Thankfully, my life no longer depends on the end result of the show. I do feel I definitely have a healthier grasp on things and a better relationship with the show and the ship, but that is the foundation that I have. That's what makes this show so special to me specifically. And I know I'm not alone in that. I know that there are countless people out there that have similar stories to mine. Stories of the show helping them get through their difficult times in life. I am with you and I am glad that you are here. Whether you are watching this video or not, I am so glad that you are here. So glad. Even if you don't agree with me on Dean and Cass's relationship, I'm glad that you're alive. I'm glad that we live to sit and talk about this show, all the good and bad that it has to offer, whether it's with each other or not. And as I've said, of course, I want to continue on with this series after I'm finished talking about Supernatural, and I'm going to move on to other shows. But I just felt like the emotional aspect of my story and connection to Supernatural was missing in all of this, and I wanted to share it. I've mentioned before that my dad loved Supernatural. He more or less liked the older episodes, which we know I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm sure that if he were alive today, he would listen to me drone on and on about how much Dean and Cass are in love with each other. And he'd be cheering for them along with me. He always encouraged me with everything that I cared about. And about 5 years ago, after he passed away, I made this promise to him and to myself that I would try. I actually have a video where I talk about this from 2015 on my channel. I said that I would try to do what I love for a living. And it wasn't until this year, with this series, that I actually decided to put the work in to fulfill that promise. So I took a few days off from the series, but I still made this video. I still made something, and I'm still trying. For me, and for him. I know he'd be proud of me no matter what I did, but I do like to think about how he would be that much more proud that I actually am putting in the work. Whew. If you are watching this and you're like, what the hell is this lady talking about? I don't even understand. You should go watch my series about series. So far, I've gone through 8 seasons of Supernatural, discussing and reviewing them, and I'm going to continue doing that until the show is over. And then I have planned some videos where I do deep dives into the various showrunners and then the writers of the show and analyze their episodes. I also have this idea to research and talk about character deaths and what makes a good versus a bad character death. Think Bobby versus Charlie, but not just with Supernatural, with other shows as well. So if you have any examples of like iconically good or bad character deaths, please leave them in the comments below so I can, do my research and all of that. I'm not sure when that video would come out, honestly, but we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. Just a warning, though, if you give me Game of Thrones characters, I probably won't use them because I cannot bring myself to watch that show. I'm just really not that big into fantasy, and I feel like to get a full picture on these character deaths, I would have to watch, like, all of the show or movie that they are a part of, and I just won't do that with Game of Thrones, so I'm sorry, but Anyway, thank you for listening to my nonsense. I appreciate each and every one of you that comments and watches my videos. I got to 52 subscribers recently, and I know that looking at the many, many YouTubers who have millions of subscribers is like, 52 is not really that big of a deal, but it really is to me. Like, it's so cool to see that people are enjoying the videos that I'm making, and I just love it. So thank you, and let's keep this thing on going. Next video will be about season 9, I promise. See you in a week.